Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of Careers and Coffee. My name is Kaylee and I'm going to be your host for today's show with my colleague Kieran Buxton working on tech behind the scenes today. Today we shall be speaking to Tina Newman. Tina has a portfolio career and is a writer, makeup artist and qualified nursing assistant. So let's welcome Tina.
Hello.
Hi, Tina. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks. How are you?
Incredible. Thank you. So to kick it off, let's just dive straight in. So can you tell us about having different working roles, and are you currently working in all three of your roles at the moment?
Gosh, luckily no, because that would be pretty insane. Basically, I qualified in 2006 as a professional makeup artist. So I specifically trained in film and TV because I loved special effects and prosthetics and things like that. So I trained in that and I worked in the television industry for a year. And that was kind of mainly on like commercials and things, lots of traveling to Pinewood Studios. It was a very fast-paced, exciting lifestyle, but I knew that I wanted to have a family one day. So then I went self-employed and I ran my own business from 2009. And then I realized, so that took me up to getting married and having my first daughter. So I was still running that, but I knew that wasn't, although I loved it, it wasn't my passion. And I've always been drawn to animals ever since I was a child. I'm like the biggest animal lover ever. And I always wanted to do something with animals, but I just thought I'm probably not cut out for becoming a vet, for instance. So I looked into veterinary nursing, thought I would try and get into that via, so there was a course, a 1-year course to become an animal nursing assistant. So I thought, right, I'm going to go for that. I'm going to see, how I get on with that. I qualified and I must have spent every day crying, working at the vets. I wasn't cut out for it at all. I'm an empath. I get very deeply affected. So this was kind of all part of my journey to where I am today. So I was still doing my makeup work alongside and kind of working at the vets and kind of just trying to find out what was the right thing to do. And then we had our second child and we moved to Suffolk from London. So that's kind of brought me to like 4 years ago. And I just knew that I wasn't meant to be doing either of those things anymore. And that is when we went vegan in 2017 and the writing started happening.
Amazing. It sounds so interesting. And we're going to get into your writing as well, but there is one question just kind of prompted up from what you were saying there about doing your years animal nursing assistant course. So how was that? Were you working at the same time as studying, and how did you find that?
Yeah, so I was running my makeup business alongside. So, lots of weddings and parties and, all the things that I really, really wanted to do when I trained. Like, I was working in Covent Garden for a while. So I got to, get involved with the theatrical side and the body painting and all of the guts and the gore, all of that kind of, side of things. But when I got into my kind of steady job running my own business, the work wasn't as exciting, which is kind of why I went into it for. So I did my course alongside my makeup work, and it was quite difficult to try and do the two things at once. But I think because I was so interested to find out if it was the right thing for me, that we made it work. And I then got a job in the vets as well. So I packed my makeup stuff away because I'm self-employed. I can pick it up when I want to. So it wasn't like I had to make a firm decision then. So I just packed it all away and I took the work if it came up at weekends, but I solidly worked at a vet's then for about a year. And that was the tough time when I realized that, okay, I know I want to do something to help animals, but this isn't it. So then
Oh, amazing. No, that's great information. Thank you. So you are a published children's author, which is amazing. and you have 2 books out. So Vivi the Supervegan and Vivi and the Planet Protector. So could you tell us who Vivi and the Planet Protector are?
Yeah, sure. So obviously we've got 2 young children ourselves. We've got 2 daughters. And so Vivi the Supervegan, she's a symbol of all vegan children everywhere. Like, I honestly, as I said, we only went vegan as a family 4 years ago. So it's all still relatively new to us. But one thing I learned very, very quickly is that vegan children and vegans in general are superheroes just by their lifestyle choice. They're saving animals and the planet every day. So I really wanted the characters in my books to be representational of that. And I wanted to empower vegan children who are often so isolated in schools and in their settings with their family and friends. And I wanted to give them, a figure in literature where they often don't have characters to look up to and empower their lifestyle. So I wanted to give them, these characters so they could really look up to them.
Yeah, that's incredible. I love that. And that leads nicely into my next question. And actually, you may have answered some of that as well. But so what really inspired you to write the books, and what is the message you would like those who are reading to gain from it?
I think when we first, I'd say when we went vegan in 2017, I looked for books straight away because we're a book family. I love reading with my girls, and I think it's so important. And when I think it was probably like by the December, I discovered that there just weren't any vegan friendly books in the UK that were kind of still, there were educational books, don't get me wrong, because I bought quite a few, but they weren't the kind of books that I was looking for with the fun and the mischief and the magic, which sounds a bit strange when you're talking about something like veganism with animals suffering. But, to be able to engage with young children, I know the kind of books that they love with my children. So I just couldn't find what I was looking for. So, apart from obviously my own children being the inspiration behind writing it, I felt so fired up to offer and put something out there in the world that ticked all of these boxes that would, empower children who are already vegan, but also introduce children who aren't vegan into a vegan world, and just offer that balance with, a lot of books are about farms and zoos and lots of things like that for children. There isn't anything out there which is just saying be kind to animals and be compassionate and just, with that gentle approach. So they were my 2 main inspirations.
Incredible. Thank you. And we've just had a live question come in. So timekeeping and organisation must be important for a portfolio career. How do you keep on top of everything? Good question.
I struggle. I struggle is what I do. No, I have to be very organised, and my husband is very good at reminding me that I need to have my diary out every week and I need to structure everything. I think because I write for another company as well, and I have to keep up with deadlines with them. I'm obviously self-employed. I'm my own boss when it comes to my side of things. So I haven't got anyone, breathing down my neck with that. But I have to be extremely self-disciplined and keep myself on task with my deadlines and, being at home and just trying to juggle being mother and doing all of my different jobs. It's tough, but you make it work, I think, because I'm passionate about what I'm doing as well. Like, you have to do it.
Yeah, that's great advice there. Being a published author, it's a fantastic achievement. So can you give the process that goes into creating a book? And so maybe just giving an overview of start to end. And I know there's going to be lots of processes in between, but maybe a brief overview.
Yeah, I will keep it short and sweet because there are so many different ways to do it. And obviously you've got the traditional route where you approach a publishing company. You have to have a literary agent to do that, or you have the self-publishing route. And, I weighed up the pros and cons of both, which they both do have quite a lot. Obviously, if you go down the self-publishing route, you have to have a lot of time. You do have to finance it yourself. You haven't got a publishing company, putting that money forward at the beginning. But, on the flip side, you have the freedom. You haven't got any anyone giving you the deadlines, like we were just saying. You can choose your own illustrator. For me, illustrations were really important because I had it in my head how I wanted it to look. So, you know, you've got the two routes really, and it depends on what stage you are in your life. If you feel like you have got the next Harry Potter and you really feel that you can take that to a publishing company, you know, it's a cutthroat world out there, and they really aren't too interested, you know, with most people's manuscripts. I didn't even entertain it, to be honest. I weighed them both up, and I thought, no, do you know what? Because mine is a niche audience, I really wanted to make sure I had as much control as possible with mine. If it was just another children's story, which didn't have to, it wasn't so important to me that for a cause, I think I probably would have approached a publishing company, because it does cost quite a bit, the whole process. So yeah, I think like if you're going to self-publish, you have to look at you have to find the editor, you have to find the illustrator, you have to find the printer, and then you have to put all of the costs out and budget, and then you have to do that yourself. So it's a longer process.
Good information there. That gives that insight, which is, yeah, that's really interesting. Thank you. And we've had another question come through. So advice to someone considering a career in writing or becoming an author?
I would say it has to come from passion, because it's not, and yeah, as I said, unless you're the next JK Rowling, like it's not a career to go into for big money, to make lots and lots of money like very, very quickly. It's a career which I think, you know, you have to be really, really sure you want to go into and be really passionate about. If you're going to do it on your own as well, you need to make sure that you can you know, you're good with the computer and the technology and stuff, because I think a lot of people, they want to write books but then they struggle with that side, and unless they're going to pay someone to do that for them, that's another obstacle. And you know, luckily I'm quite good on the computer and, you know, on social media, and good at pushing myself out there and advertising and marketing. If you're not, I know a lot of self-published authors who struggle with that side, and then that can be another stumbling block. So I think my advice would be 100% go for it. I love writing. I love being creative. I love the fact that you can change people's worlds with your words. I think it's fantastic, but you've got to be really sure of which way you're going to go, and make sure you know how it all works.
Yeah, it sounds like there's not just that one role of being an author. Actually, you are doing the marketing side and the financing and the budgeting side as well. So yeah. Oh, another question come through. So what made you decide to go vegan and then to write about it? Good question.
Well, yes, great question. I went vegetarian at 11, so I'm 35 now, and I was vegetarian for 21 years, but completely unaware of the dairy industry and the egg industry. So as I said, I was the biggest animal lover, still am, but when I first went vegetarian, that was for ethical reasons, for, you know, I didn't want any animal to be suffering because of me. And then in 2017, I saw something on social media. It was one picture of a calf being taken away from their mother, and I was just like, what's going on? Like, just clicked on it because I wanted to see, and it took me through to an activist speech, and I watched the whole entire thing, was in floods of tears, and I literally went vegan overnight. And it was that moment that I basically started writing poetry, which was something I'd never done before. And I think that was what really showed me. I started sharing my poems online, and I was getting such a positive response from people, because it was helping me express how I was feeling, but it was helping other people as well. And then that kind of, I think it planted the seed really with the children's books, because I was thinking, okay, this is for adults, this is great, but as adults we can all support each other so much. The children don't really have that, and then that's where it all began.
Amazing, thank you. What skills do you think that you gained from your previous two roles, so as animal nurse assistant and as a makeup artist, that have helped you along this journey of being a published author?
I think there've been quite a few actually, because sometimes I look and think, oh gosh, was that like a complete waste of my life, like for those years? But I look back and I think no, because for my makeup course, that was a 2-year course in London to get my HND. And we had to do loads of things, mood boards and these massive big folders of our work and all of our plans and everything. And, when I've come to talk to my illustrators for months and months planning the books, and I have to then like give them mood boards, and I have to do all of the things that, luckily I've done before. So that's helped me tremendously. And the animal nursing side, I think what it did was deepen my compassion and my empathy for animals in such a deep way that it just kind of fueled it sped up my kind of journey to veganism, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's great for students to hear that actually you might go into one career but then change your mind and go into something else, but actually it's not a waste of time. You always gain something from that. Yeah. Another question. So what have been the reactions to your books?
Well, luckily they've been really positive. Obviously my main target audience are vegan families and or families who know someone who's vegan. So the majority of people who will be buying my books will be vegan, or at least empathetic to the cause. But I've had a few comments from people. I live in a very rural area in Suffolk, and I've had a few conversations with people where they've tried to be a bit provocative, or there's been a bit of backlash because they feel like I'm challenging them personally with their farming in their family. It's so deep, it's going back generations. But when I'm just always kind to people and really happy, and as soon as I explain, like, hey, look, I'm just showing there's another side about being compassionate, and I think the word vegan just annoys people anyway, but if you replace that with just be kind to animals and stuff, I think people then realize, oh yeah, okay, this girl, she's not out to just, I'm not hating on farmers, I just want them to change what they're farming, just change it to plants. And so I think like most people, even if there's that initial defense mechanism from people, they then realize, okay, yeah, there isn't anything out there, this lady's just filling that gap.
Amazing. What has been one of your biggest highlights with becoming a published author?
I think there have been so many cool things that I never would have dreamt would be happening. Like I had I was invited to speak on a vegan documentary that's coming out next year. Radio interviews where I'm reaching people that I never would have thought. There are so many amazing things, but honestly, the biggest thing for me would be having messages from parents saying like how it's changed their child's life and how they feel so empowered now and they feel like they're not alone. And I think it was like on World Book Day 2 years ago when I woke up to messages from parents from all over the world sending pictures of their kids off to school, and I'm talking like Hong Kong and France and all of these different places, and their kids were dressed up as characters from my books. And I just thought, that's why, I've done it for the animals, but I've done it for the kids as well. And like seeing that was the moment I thought, cool, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, my books weren't even out there, but seeing this, that gave me the most amount of joy.
Yeah, I saw some of those pictures, that they were amazing. With another live question coming through, so did you always think about being a writer? Was it something that interested you at school?
No, I did like writing at school. I did English A-level, and one of my main pieces actually for my A-levels was a piece about going against the herd. It was about going against the grain and not going to university just because everybody else is, and follow your heart and really do what you want and stuff. Because I really I think deep down I have always had this love for writing, but I just never really knew how to channel it. So I didn't always know that I wanted to be a writer, and it's not even like I've done much since I was at school, as I said, because I've gone down the other paths, but I've obviously had to do lots of essays and stuff for my courses. But no, this is all kind of crept up and snuck out on me a few years ago. But I'm so grateful it has, because I'm very happy with what I'm doing.
Yeah, that really shines through for sure, definitely. Okay, so we've got another question come through. I think you answered this earlier. So what did you do to get a publisher interested in a vegan storyline? So I know you said that actually you went through the self-publishing route. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know if there's any more information that you could maybe give along the publishing of if you want to reach out to publishers at all?
Yeah, I think if I was to do that, it would have been really interesting. I would have loved to have like a little idea to see what they would have said, whether they would have just shut the door. If I did want to go to a publisher with my 3rd book or my 4th book, then I would have to find a literary agent who would do that to bridge the gap, because back in the day, I think you could just send your manuscripts to the publishing company straight away, but now you have to go through the middle person. So yeah, if I was to do that in the future, if I felt like I couldn't keep financing my books, then that is what I would have to do.
Amazing. No, that's great. That's a little key nugget of wisdom there that you might not realize. If you had your own time over, would you do anything differently in your career?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't think I would, because I genuinely feel like everything I've done, even before that, like I did a lot of jobbing after school. I worked for Mercedes-Benz in the after sales, like just for 18 months, and, you know, just random jobs in like MVC, the music shop. I don't even know if anyone would even know what that was nowadays. And like Virgin Megastores. I did lots of just jobs, and I think that's important as well, just to kind of find out where your passions lie and stuff. And nothing is like too small when it comes to a job. Like, I think it's all really important. It's all part of your journey. So I think the makeup job and my animal nursing job has definitely been a big part of mine, and I don't regret anything at all.
Amazing. Thank you. And what do you feel are the next steps for Vivi? So you were talking about a 3rd and a 4th book.
My next steps would be to have this turned into a vegan TV series. Amazing. For kids, because there isn't anything out there, and I think they're crying out for it. I mean, like we took our kids to see Peter Rabbit 2 the other day, and there were so many vegan messages in it where they were rescuing animals from animal testing, from the butchers, there were so many different little hints in there, but there just isn't a TV series. So that would be my next big goal, and obviously keep bringing out books in the series. I would also love to do a slightly older book. I think maybe like the young adult, maybe kind of like 12 to 15, that kind of age. I would love to do a book for them as well.
Amazing. Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you so much. Okay, so I've just seen the time, so we've got time for this one last question. Have you had any role models or mentors on your journey?
No, I haven't really, apart from like animal rights activists who, I love learning. I'm always researching and trying to find out as much as I can. So apart from that, nothing to do with my writing and stuff. I'm just constantly thinking of the animals and trying to just think, what can I do to make this world a better place and put something positive out there that will help children, because as corny as it sounds, children are the future. So they need to hear this kind of stuff. So as they grow into compassionate adults. So they're my role models.
I love that. That's such a positive one to end on as well. That's awesome. Tina, thank you so much for coming on today. It's been amazing. Your passion really does shine through with your message. And it's just been so interesting to hear about your career and the writing side and the steps as well and process it took to get there. So again, thank you so much for coming on today. It's been amazing.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
So that's all for today's show, but another big thank you to our guest Tina, and also thank you to my colleague Kieran, who has been working on tech behind the scenes today. I hope you all have a lovely evening, and we look forward to seeing you again on Thursday at 4:30.